Hello everybody, welcome again to the Hero Tongues podcast. My name is Bart.
My name's Adam. Nothing's changed though. My name's still Adam.
My name is still Bart.
Oh, perfect.
And today we are talking about are you ever too young for greatness?
Yeah, and it's relating to is age just a number? And it's a common phrase in English terminology. People say age is just a number, and we're going to decide and we're going to talk about a little bit. Is age just a number? We're going to make some comparisons, talk about things, and just talk about not too much ageism. That's a different topic altogether. About age and the related things that go along with your
What does
number.
mean ageism?
Ageism means like people who can be separatized from the community if they're too old for a job, for example. So like if you're like 40, 45, they say, if you're going to struggle to find work in this sector because they're only taking on young people.
Oh.
You know, there's been examples of like Elon Musk taking 14 and 15-year-old software developers into what's the company called? You'll know this.
Tesla, not
Tesla, SpaceX.
SpaceX.
So you should know that. SpaceX. So
he has a lot of companies.
yeah. So yeah, he does. To be fair,
already Twitter is his company.
X, Twitter, yeah. So it's like Bart's been born 5 years ago. He's like Twitter. It's actually called X. So like things have moved on.
Yeah, but if you put domain twitter.com, it will redirect you to the X. So.
It's for people like you that forget the word X. They still use Twitter. Bart's a bit high. I'm trying to train him. So no, but he's taken on like young people. So maybe ageism would be a thing. So basically, ageism would preclude you, would stop you from doing certain things. Even being too young, it doesn't mean you're too old.
Yeah,
but we don't want to. We're not really talking about that. We're talking about
that's a good topic for the next podcast.
yeah. We're talking about age and numbers and consequences and things and just stuff around that. So I'll start with the opening sort of leading, you would say. So I've got something in my eye. So right, is age ever a disadvantage? And I'll give you two ages. So being 14 and 21. Is there a disadvantage in life to being 14 or 21? And what are some of the advantages, maybe?
I mean, no. I mean, everybody was in this age.
Yeah, they are. But is there any disadvantages to being 14 years old?
I mean, in 40s, when you are 14, you have different objectives that you are 21. That's
people.
Nothing is wrong with this age, and nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's something wrong. I'm saying is there a disadvantage and advantage? Can you think of any? What's a disadvantage of being 14?
First thing first, you are not adult by the law.
Law could be an issue.
And you can drive a car.
Yeah.
You can be like 180 centimeters tall. Yeah. Like
fully know what you're doing. Yeah. You've practiced with the dad and the mother in the car. You know how to drive, but you still can't drive.
Yeah, you still can drive and you can wait. You need to wait 4 years.
Yeah.
So that's not good in this case. What else?
What about work?
What about work? Also, you're
a great programmer. You've made 2 games already. And some software. Yeah, but you can't land a job because they don't have a contract for a 14-year-old.
Yes, that's also the problem, and also you can't be independent in this age, I would say.
Legally,
yeah.
Exactly. So it's to do with legislation and law.
Imagine the case that you have a lot of money in this 14 years old age.
You're a Bitcoin millionaire,
for example, and you need to steal some permissions from your parents if you want to
go. They are your registered keeper, actually. Yeah. So they choose what you do technically until you're 18.
Exactly.
So the law is behind the curve, you would say. The law needs to catch up. Another thing is like, for example, this is just an example. Your mother or your father is doing a certain job. Let's say your father. So he's an electrician. Mm-hmm. And you think, I don't really want to continue with school. I'm of a sound mind. I want to become an electrician like my dad. He runs his own small business or he works for a company. They've said they can give me an apprenticeship or some job. Why do I need to continue with school when I know I have a job which I want to do what's in front of me, but I can't start it for another 4 years? Would that's hindering or halting, slowing down your progress in life?
Yeah.
So that's a disadvantage as well. So when are you an adult? You know, I've met 12 and 13-year-olds through teaching that are very compass mentis. You would say they're very mature. But you meet others that really don't know what they want to do in life. I was one of them people. I really didn't know what I want to do in life. So it can actually hold you back being that age. Even though you're ready to run with the ball, you're held back. So,
And so one more thing I want to add: people don't treat you like an adult when you are.
yeah,
40.
your people's perception.
Yeah, basically when you have like when you are 80,
Yeah.
also people don't treat you like an adult. You are still kid 40.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Benjamin Button thing.
Yeah.
So you start as a child, you end as a child. So yeah, I get that fully. Yeah.
I think that people start treat me more like an adult when I was like 20, 22, something like this. Because before I was like a guy who has no experience with anything, and people were just afraid to give me something because not because of my skills, because I was young.
Because you were young, so their perception of you was that you had no experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's in the workplace. That's a difficult thing. It's not because you can't do the job. It's just because there's other options that have experience. But how do you get experience without getting experience?
That's the most problematic thing, and anybody need to face with it. I also faced it with it. You apply to the job, and that's your first job, but you need to have 2 years experience.
Yeah.
Commercial experience.
So without going into the older age brackets, because obviously when you get older, it's a bit more simple topic you can talk about. Like people, it's again comes down to not experience but perspectives. Like you're too old to do something. That's just perspectives on what people have on people. Like you're too young or you're too old. The sweet numbers in the middle, probably 28 to 42, 45. That's at your best years, I would personally say. Experience, workout, production.
Which one? 20?
I'd say from 28 until you have a decent amount of experience until you're like 48 probably. They're like your max peak years, you know, what you can do sporting wise, output wise, brain capacity wise. Everything else before and after that is lack of experience or you lose what you know sometimes. I think they're your peak years actually. In my experience, people's experience are different. You know, just what I think about.
There is a lot of people who just started businesses or things that they love doing right now after 60 years old.
Of course. You know what I mean? That's experience then. That's just, well.
Yeah, there was one example with the pianist. I have no... I don't remember her name, but that was like old lady. She was 80 and she started playing piano. Okay. And nobody believed in her because she's too old to start playing the piano. Yeah. But she played per 10 years, day by day, and she became a really famous piano artist.
Very nice.
But I mean that, from 80 to 90 is like somebody is old and is getting old and old and old, but that's still 10 years. So if somebody will start from 20 years and finish in 30, the result will be the same. That's the same time period.
I think it's your motivation and drive though, you know. As I've got older doing sports and things like this, my motivation and drive is more now than it was in my 20s. So if I set a task for myself or I'm in a competition or race, I can race and compete harder than I would at any time in my 20s because I know the value of it and I enjoy it and I've got a stronger connection to it and I enjoy doing it now. Whereas before I wouldn't have enjoyed it the same. It's about how you apply what you don't need that much force to do something or to complete a task or a goal. You just need to apply it in the correct way. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. So it's about how it's applied. Like it's about the sharpness of the needle. You know, if I push my finger into you, I just push my finger into you. If I file this down and make it into a needle like I draw blood, the same amount of force will go right through you. So it's not the force, it's the direct, it's how direct you are with something and how targeted you are and how focused something is. Yeah. So that's the importance. And I think experience gives you that. How to work smarter, not harder. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not about full force, it's about what force you put in where.
And also I don't understand. I mean, there is a lot of people who are regret that they didn't do proper things in their life. They are, let's say, 45. But they still have possibility to do, like, start.
I think the
from
worst thing
now
you can
and
do is keep looking back, and
Yeah.
you need to just think, well, I've got now, I can go from now. Do you know what I mean? I could have gone then, but I didn't, so I'm going to go now. You can't keep talking about then, because then that'll change now. Do you know what I mean?
Start doing something.
Just do something.
Yeah.
And then it'll get bigger and bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's that easy.
It's easy, but it's hard to put it into practice.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about like different things as well, so if I was to say the word prodigy to you, you've heard of the word probably before. What's your understanding of it? And they refer to it usually in younger people, so they say he's a childhood prodigy. So what do they mean by that? It's almost to refer to someone as a prodigy.
So prodigy means that somebody achieved a lot in young age.
Yeah, basically. So they're considered to be beyond their level of maturity. So they're considered to be beyond the perspective of their maturity. So like these spelling champions from India and different countries where they spell out words in like a set time and you become a world champion.
Yeah, but most of the time people like that were out of the, I would say, group in their ages. They are doing their things.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people love from them that they are doing.
They got pushed to do those things as well. You know, I think some people are just naturally gifted at pushing themselves, or like you tend to see, means like you usually see pushy parents with the gymnasts in China. They're always the best gymnasts in the world. They start so young, like 2 and 3 years old, and they can like hang off the bar for 10 minutes at that age, whereas I was just playing out on my bike.
Yeah, but in the China, as far as I know, they are checking the possibilities of the humans based of their shapes. And if they see the kid
like
which is like
system.
4 or 3 years old, and they know that he will be full.
They have the correct limb length.
One will be, yeah.
But also with the spelling champions, it comes down to parenting, I think. It tends to be pushy parents that push them and push them and push them. But sometimes not. Sometimes these kids are just really clever and really smart and they just know stuff. You know, I think, again, it's perspective on things, people's perspective. Like, oh, because you're young, you don't know. But some young people are really intelligent. So, and also, like, different topic I want to talk about. You obviously knew what the prodigy meant was. Before we get on to the main topic, can being young but great, can you miss out on childhood? So think about these young people, like can you miss out on the good years, the years of no worry, no stress, because you're that focused on being a gymnast, you're that focused on being a spelling champion, you're just super intelligent. Do you actually forget to be a kid? Do you lose that because you've fast forwarded to maturity level?
They for sure are losing it, but
do you understand what I mean? Because they're the best years sometimes when you have.
But the same case with the study. Somebody just push the study, forget about everything, just learning per 5 years.
Yeah. So, do you think it's good to follow a conventional path? In basic terms, like, is it good to follow a conventional path? Because, like, we'll relate it to young people again. Sometimes you meet people and you're like, what do you want to be when you're older? They'll say a vet, a doctor, and they become it. And because they've got a clear vision from being in single digit years, some of them, you ask them, like me at school, and I'd be like, I don't really know, to be honest. Like, I wanted to experience a lot of things. So
I will change a little bit answer for your question. Regarding the thing that you said, that's the best is to choose what you feel, not hear other people, not hear also parents, I would say, because I know a lot of people who joined to some studies because their parents said that it would be nice to if you will be doctor, lawyer, and so on.
Peer pressure.
Yeah, and after 5 years they don't feel it at all.
No.
And in my opinion, that was 5 years of losing time. They are interested. Let's say some lawyer is interested more about the car's mechanic, and probably after 5 years of study, that person will join to some lawyer company, but he will be burned out after 3 or 5 months. Because
he's not enjoying it. Yeah, burnout's a big one, I think. Yeah, people don't enjoy things. also, like, this is more of a perceptional question, people's perception. Do adults tackle or deal with problems better than children? Children, teenagers, young people. So if I have a software issue for you and it's been through the agile process and people check it, make it better, why couldn't loads of skilled 14-year-olds do that?
I mean that a lot of teenagers are really well skilled already.
Yeah. So why do people perceive they won't do it as good?
I think that sometimes younger people are better than older. Because older people has like structure, they need to do in proper way, do something, prepare 3,000 times, discuss about something 3,000 times. But young people, they have no experience how to do it. They're just doing it. They know. They are searching for information in the whole internet, using GPT, using some other tools.
Yeah.
They are exploring and deliver something which works.
And also, I think they're not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
As you get older, my dad came out with an interesting topic the other day, and it's similar to you. You were working with your dad on the roof. He was working with his dad on the roof. My dad was working on the roof not so long ago, and he said when he was younger, when he was a builder, he'd run up around the roofs with no rope, as high as you wanted, 50 metres even, up and down the roof, no ladders, just sliding down, going, and he wouldn't give it a thought in the world. Whereas now he went up a couple of metres onto the roof, and he was quite nervous on the ladder, and he was thinking, if I fall, this might happen, if this happens. So he was afraid to fail. And I think you get that with experience. It's like a byproduct of having life experiences. When you're a kid, so you don't have as much experience in life, but you don't have the boundaries, you're not afraid to fail. If I said to you as a kid, this is related to work now also, go down that hill as fast as you can on your bike. It doesn't matter if you have a helmet on. You would pedal your legs till they have no energy down this hill. If I said that to you, you'd be like, I should probably wear a helmet, and I wonder if there's going to be traffic. You'd have some questions. Yeah. So imagine doing that when you're 70, you'd be like, it's not for me. So when I give you a problem with software, that's why they can fix it, because they think, well, if I fail, I fail. Yeah. But so they just do it, but it actually works living in the moment that way. So there's benefits to being younger. I think it's quite an interesting thing, the concept to think about. Do you have to have maturity? Last question before we move on to the full topic. Do you have to have maturity to act wisely?
I don't understand.
So when you act wisely, you act in the correct way, the proper way, in a wise manner. So like through experience, you know things. But do you need maturity to act wisely? So do you need to be old to act wise? They say old people are wise, they know lots of things. But do you need to be, can you be young and act wise? You know what I mean? Can you be young and act wise?
I know what you mean, but older people have life experience.
Yeah.
And that's the clue here, I would say.
Yeah. So this is another thing. It's like, you can't buy health. Like health is wealth, you would say. You can't buy experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you
so that goes against what we're saying.
For some situation, because for example you saw it, you read it, but when you face it in the real life, it can destroy you mentally.
Yeah,
for example.
But that goes against what we're just saying with the system, because we're saying, young people are good and they can do this. But you still can't buy experience. Doesn't matter how rich you are, you can't buy it. You can't buy experience.
What I don't like is when I see situation when somebody who is adult is looking from the young people because they don't know something.
Yeah.
I hate situations like this.
Yeah, especially work-based situations.
Yeah, it's work-based, yeah.
I think you can have a sense of humour, like, if someone's crossing the road in the wrong place, especially in Poland where jaywalking is illegal, you have to cross on the crossings. Not in the UK, but you can laugh and think they're going to get in trouble, and surely enough a policeman comes and tells them off. It's quite humorous, because you think, they have to learn sometime. But if you're laughing at them, you would say looking down at them. If you're laughing at someone and looking down at them, like, you're so stupid you don't know what to do. Well, you were stupid at one time also. You were stupid at one time also. So why don't you help that person not be that way? So then that's like a negative, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of humour to laughing at someone, but there's also a negative side to it as well.
Yeah, but
you were young once
for
also.
me, these people who are laughing, they are stupid.
They are definitely stupid.
Because
they should be transferring knowledge.
How we can compare somebody who is 18 with somebody who is 40?
Exactly. Who's worked in 5 different companies.
This guy who is 80 and he's ambitious and goal-oriented, he can gain this knowledge in 4 years, which this guy who is
if you help him.
Yeah.
If you help him, exactly. Yeah, no, that's another interesting kind of topic as well. Okay, so this 2 questions, and we've kind of like covered these before also as well. If you have any questions, you can also put them in the bottom. But like, this is a question related to SpaceX, like we started. So there's been a case of a 14-year-old called Kieran, who now works in cyber intelligence, and he's been recruited by SpaceX. So why do you think Elon and other people who are hiring these people, why do they hire young individuals?
I think that they are hiring them because they are, how to say it, they already know how current world works because they are using TikToks, they are using the other platforms that adult people don't use because it's like stupid for them to use them.
We don't understand it, basically.
Yeah, and we don't understand it. And young people understand and they can answer really quick our questions.
Pretty much, yeah. So they're living in the moment, you would say. They're living in the moment. So I personally don't have TikTok. I've only recently got Instagram. And I still don't fully get it. But I do. But like, you fully get these things. So for me, I'm a Facebook era. So I get Facebook and I get Twitter. But I don't get Instagram as much. And I definitely don't get TikTok. But that doesn't mean to say it's a bad thing. I just don't get it. So I wouldn't use it. But I think, like you said, these companies that employ young people, they're living in the moment and they can see trends. And they can see technological trends like, why are we not using that software to help us do that? Why are you still going that way with it? You should use this because actually, and they can see a different perspective on life, I think.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And also, just before we move on, like,
probably I have another thing regarding the hiring young people. Probably they will count you less and do the same work as adult people.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I assume that when somebody is adult, like let's say 45, he has 20 years of work experience. He won't work for shitty money, I would say.
Yeah.
But young people, they have no experience. They are building their personal portfolio.
They'll work for a lower.
And most of them can work for free just to get first job.
Yeah, true. And I've worked for free a couple of times.
Yeah, me too. Me too, but I really enjoy it, I would say.
Yeah.
Because working for free sometimes it's good when you have environment when you are in the people who can teach you.
Yeah, especially if you're learning something from it. Yeah, and they're not using you. You're learning.
Exactly.
Do you think high intelligence relates to maturity? What is more important if somebody wants to land a job? So, like, what's more important? So, intelligence or maturity?
Between, I would say.
Yeah.
This is important and also this is important.
So,
I mean, you can talk with somebody who is 80 and the person like this have a lot of life experience to share, but probably have no idea how the current world works, and people in this age don't understand that young people can work just by using computers.
Yeah,
that's impossible to think about it for them. What are you doing here?
Well, you give a smartphone, any smartphone, to an 80 or 90-year-old and say, just open it and send me to a page on Google.
Yeah.
Or just operate it. Open an app. That's a simple instruction. Open an app. No clue. Give it to a 3 or 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And say, open, and they'll go.
Open the app, cut the short from it,
send it, share it to some people. Share it to TikTok. And they'll do it in 2 seconds. Why though? But if I said to that same old person, I'm not trying to stereotype. If I said to the same older person, a gentleman, a female, and I said, tell me the best way to make a tomato soup. Tell me the best way to build a fire. Tell me the best way to do something practical, because people were more practical, I would say, back in the day. Well, when you're using these types of nails, it's important not to put that into and they would know why it's important to oil the nail or the screw before it goes into the wood. You ask most people, if they're not a carpenter or joiner, why that's important now. They'd have no clue what you're talking about. Build that wall for me, assemble this table for me, even if it's got instructions. People struggle with it. There's adverts on TV now when we talk about assembly. You can use the Oculus or the VR now to have online instructions to help you make an IKEA table. I personally wouldn't struggle with that, but someone who's younger than me might think, I'm not a practical person. You don't have to be practical, you just have to follow the instructions. You're not building a house. Yeah. But younger people, I think that's dying out now, whereas my dad could make a table, no problem. And but he can't use TikTok. Yeah. So it's just moving with the times, you would say. Moving with the times. My grandmother and grandfather still read a newspaper, but people go off reels now and they want fast news. They want to just get a basic view.
People already are checking the TikTok to get the best information about restaurant near the area where they are.
And it's interesting. Yeah. And that's the current situation. Yeah. Whereas, my grandmother might read some articles about something. They just prefer... It's all about moving with the times. And it goes back to how we started, it doesn't make you less or more. Age is just a number. It doesn't make you less or more. It depends what you do with that number, what's important.
Yeah, for example, now I think that learning by heart makes no sense.
Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about...
maybe English words. Yeah, this is the one thing.
But Bart's getting better every lesson. And you've only been coming a couple of months and your English has improved massively. And I think you're doing really well. See, bit of kudos for Bart. So what I wanted to talk about now, this is a bigger part of the lesson and hopefully it doesn't take too long. What are the challenges? This is a big question now, we can talk about lots of examples. What are the challenges of someone who is young, but they're exceptionally gifted, they're exceptionally talented, gifted, they can achieve fame at a young age as well. So think about Michael Jackson, think about Bitcoin millionaires, think about other pop stars, think about inventors, think about prodigy, mathematical young people. Think about what's the disadvantages, what are the challenges for these people in life?
Okay, so...
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I have a really nice example regarding the guy who is really intelligent, and he jumped from the from the first level school. How's that?
On the building?
No. I mean.
He skipped. So he went from this level at school.
Yeah, and he jumped to the study.
Okay. He went straight to university. School. He just went straight there.
Straight to university after the primary school. I want to say primary school. And that he was really intelligent. He was better than more of the students in this university, but he was physically younger, and they didn't accept him.
They didn't accept him socially. So social problem, social issues.
That was a big social issue, and I think that this guy won't be happy in his life because of this situation. He's in university. He's the best. Yeah. He's 10 years younger than he is.
But it's not socially accepted.
But nobody will invite him to the party to go somewhere.
He can't go there either.
Yeah, basically he can't, because
it's quite lonely. It could be lonely potentially. Imagine being super intelligent at 12 and 13 years old, but there's no one else around you for your intelligence, and you look at other 12 or 13 and think,
so
they're really boring.
Loneliness is the word.
Loneliness. Yeah. Because you'd think, they're really boring. They don't think like me. They think I think like these guys over there, but they don't want to talk to me. So imagine how boring your life would be. So it's actually it's actually a challenge. It is a challenge for you.
Yeah, it is a huge challenge. You have money, you have quite nice life, but you can't talk with somebody because nobody understands you.
Yeah, so that's connected to social life, and people can become jealous as well, and it also links into mental health, because if you're lonely, but so then he might not ever achieve greatness, obviously, but he might not ever get as far as he could have got because people don't fully support him and they don't understand him. Yeah. So if you don't understand something, I mean, how do we interpret it? How do you make it better if you don't understand something?
Yeah, but I would say that it is also depend on the personality, because if you have 1 million to manage, probably you will do it like carefully. You will think about something. Basically, we talked about it in some podcasts before. But some people who never earned huge money, and for example they win some lottery, they will probably spend everything in 2 weeks for some sheets that
It's
they have no
it's called
extra money to cover.
It's called the poor mentality.
Yeah.
But they say if you've come from the people, they say, I don't know who they are, but they say, you would say, they say that if you've started poor and you came from humble beginnings and you become like a millionaire, for example, and you lose it all, you can do it again.
Yeah.
But if you're poor and you became a millionaire and you lose it, you don't win it again. So it's like, and you don't really understand the value of money. You still have the poor mentality.
Yeah.
There's been lots of sports stars, I'm not going to mention them, but there's lots of sports stars that have done that over the years. You know, famous boxers, for example, very, very famous ones, and other football players. And because they never got taught, because they came from very humble beginnings and poor start, which a lot of sports people do, especially within combat sports, they weren't taught on how to manage money. They were taught how to fight, they were taught how to eat, they were taught how to do everything. They weren't taught how to look after money.
Yeah.
So they're still poor now. They started life poor and they're in debt and they're still poor now. You know, they had everything and they lost it all because they didn't know the value of it.
Exactly.
It's interesting that. It's an interesting mentality. But, so when you're smart, you know how to spend it. Last one I want to mention as well. So like, Greta Thunberg, for example. Greta Thunberg.
How dare you?
How dare you mention him? She's protesting at my door, but holding my dog hostage. No, like, I don't know. What do you think about her? She's like, she gained great fame, you would say, in worldwide, not stardom, but like, people know about her. I know about her. Her name just came out. She would class herself as having Asperger's syndrome, like on the autistic spectrum. You can read about that online. And so people could look down on her for that reason, but she's super intelligent and she has a point to prove and she's very focused on what she wanted to do. And she was 14 or 15 at the time of her reaching her peak. So what do you think about that? Like, do you think it was a smart move? Do you think it was good?
Yeah.
She's just an example.
I won't say about this movie if it was good or not, but I would say that in the age that she started doing it, probably she will have huge mental problems in the future because of the hate.
Yeah. A lot of people dislike her.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people dislike her. Yeah, definitely.
I would say that more people dislike her than like her.
Yeah, in your opinion. Yeah, and that's probably like the opinion. I think she was mature beyond the years to like organise rallies, and when you hear her talk, she's really consistent about what she wants to say. She's really driven, like a 30 or 40-year-old.
Yeah, that's the thing that I mentioned before, that because of her age, she's not respected as she should be. I would say.
And also she doesn't have a care because the police can't throw her in jail, and so she has nothing to lose actually. So she can be a really loud voice. If it was a 30 or 40-year-old, they'd probably lock you up and you public order offence and you get a warning. Whereas this one, you can't really do anything with. So, no, it's interesting. I think people who achieve stardom at a young age or greatness at a young age, the grass isn't greener on the other side. Like we watch them and think, oh, it's great that. But I think they could be quite depressed. They could be lonely. They could have social issues like you talk about. But they also have a really good life. I think you would say you take the rough with the smooth. It's a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. So it's not all good, basically. And I think it's interesting. It's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts about it as well, Pete. If you've got any examples of people, pop stars, inventors, philanthropists, people that have made an impact at a very young age that you can think about. More than happy to hear about those people as well. Yeah,
and I think that we can end up here.
Yeah.
And check the description down below. Every information will be included there. Adam is an English teacher. Yeah. He has a couple free slots So
if you want to get in touch for any English lessons, whether it's for exam practice, business English, work English, general English, functional English,
podcast English,
English, anything you want to do, we can do it.
Yep. So don't hesitate. Go to the description, check the links, and schedule the lesson. And we will see you in the next one. Thank you for today. Bye.
Bye.